an easy way to make some of your displays and carriers so you can carry your jewelry around to different places. And just a couple of tricks that I've learned and some things that you'll need to do as well that will make it a little bit easier for you. I found that most people have someone that has a saw or some tools to help you build something, but if you do not, Home Depot or Lowe's will be glad to make cuts for you there at the store, so you really don't need to buy yourself a circular saw or table saw or whatever. You can have them cut it for you. I have taken usually this pegboard comes in 4x8 sheets, and you can have them cut it for you there, or you can have it cut accordingly to whatever your specifications are. Just because we've decided on a certain size and we'll leave the dimensions for you, you can always alter them accordingly to the type of vehicle that you have. But most of the things that we'll show you are things that you can put in any smaller car. So let's say that you've gone to Lowe's or Home Depot and you've gotten your pegboard, they've cut it, and you brought it home. Another thing that's good to get are 1x2s, and they come in 8-foot lengths, and you can cut them accordingly. There are two different ways of doing the boards, whether you put them upright, coming upwise, or flat. And so it will all depend on what type of board you want to do. If you want to do a display board that's bigger, I like to do them flat so they don't stick out as much. But if you are doing a carrying case, it's nice to have them stick out so that they'll bend in together, and we'll get to those in just a second. If we're doing, let's say, the one, we'll make our measurements, and we've got them cut accordingly. The only tool that you'll need is just a drill, whether it be cordless or not. To me, that's about the only tool that you will need. You don't have to, but I like to use glue. Whether you use Elmer's glue or just a wood glue, I like to put a little bit of glue on this. Put that on. Put a little more glue on. Put those together. I like to put a little screw in here just to kind of hold it in place till I flip it around. Then I just get some small screws. It doesn't have, just so that it doesn't matter really how long they are, just so long that they're long enough to go through your pegboard and into your wood. And go about every 9 inches to a foot, however you want to go. And then once you've gone all the way around your boards with your screws, you will come up with a finished board, just like that, okay? Then after you've done 2 of them, you get a piano hinge, and you just put that piano hinge on the one side, put those together. Whether you paint it and then put the piano hinge on, or put the hinge on and then paint it, it really doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. But then all of a sudden, when you are done, that will open up, and then it will just hold up on as your display. And that way you can put a couple boards together, you put your hooks up, and then it just closes up I would strongly suggest that the pink foam that you get in your boxes with your jewelry, that you put that in between and it will hold that jewelry in place so it doesn't wiggle around when you have it in the cars. Now to lock it up, you can get some hinges and you can put that hinge on there onto your thing, and that way it will hold that shut as you travel. Okay? And so basically you'll put your hinge on. This particular one that I just built does not have paint on it yet. I've just gone to Home Depot and purchased this Rust-Oleum. I personally like to use gray rather than black. We started out using black, but the gray seems to show up the jewelry better. And so I personally just spray everything gray. As you see on this one, I painted this one gray. This is one of our older ones that we did black. The black seems to show a little bit after time, a little bit more rubbing, and it doesn't seem to last as long, but the gray really seems to work well. This is just a small carrier that we have. I will kind of explain a little bit some of the things we've done on this one that I've done. I've used a piano hinge on the inside on 3 corners. That way it will move in and out, and as you open that up, you can display your jewelry. I've gone with a small 6-inch piece in between. And the reason I do that is once you put your hooks up on both sides and you close that up, it's got room to hold your jewelry. There's a little bit of a gap in between there. I strongly suggest that you use your plastic foam that you get and put that in between there, so as you close that, it will hold that jewelry in place. Some people have found that the piano hinge is a little bit expensive, and so rather than put piano hinge on 3 sides, what they will do is they will use just some ribbons and use some zip ties. They've made themselves just using these holes in the pegboard and have created themselves something to put in. And they've just created basically a hinge by just using ribbon. And of course, you'll tie it prettier than I do. But this is another way to create a hinge, and you could do that on all 4 sides, and it will be an easier way to do that. The handle, we've just gotten the material from a fabric store. All I've done is cut it into a length that I find is easy to use on both sides to hold that. And then I've just used a bolt with a washer on the outside, put my nut on the inside with a washer on both sides, and all of a sudden you have yourself a handle to carry that. I have put a couple of L brackets in mine on each side, because what happens sometimes is as you're driving, even though you might have a hinge, it might get kind of skinny. And I found that these keep it from pinching together, squeezing up really thin. Here's a board, a carrier that is complete. We've got it ready to go to a show. What you need to do is fold that up. Of course, you want to put your foam on the inside and then just tie that together. And you're ready to go. Don't be limited by the size that you want. Choose your own size if you'd like to. Here we've got even a smaller version that I've made with some smaller, had some material left over with my pegboard, and so I just made a smaller one to put earrings in and bracelets. So it makes it something even smaller. Just be creative. You can make your own sizes up. There's nothing that says, hey, it has to be this particular size. Do what you want.